Finally, the legendary George Burns' career spanned more than 90 years, and he's come back alive in a way in a Tony Award-winning play called Say Goodnight Gracie. Take a quick look.
Well, on my second day, I get stopped by this gang of older kids. And they say to me, you live around here? Which, of course, I took to mean, are you Italian? Yeah, sure. Yeah? What's your name? Well, I was a pretty fast thinker. Enrico Caruso. And then the biggest one stuck his face in mine and says, are you Catholic? Am I Catholic? My father's a priest. They never stopped me again.
Here to tell us more is the star of the show, Alan Safier. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. Great. Thank you.
George Burns.
Who is that guy?
Yeah, right? Growing up on the Lower East Side.
Definitely, yeah.
What kind of thrill is this for you? Were you a fan of Burns and Allen?
I was enamored with them, and I'm old enough that I actually saw the Burns and Allen TV show. Okay. Not old enough for the radio.
Okay, right.
Or the vaudeville. I never saw them on the Orpheum circuit. Okay. But I love the show, and, you know, everybody always talked about, you know, Gracie's the funny one, Gracie's the real talent. When I was a kid, I was like Jack Benny. Everything George Burns said cracked me up. I thought he was so funny and so dry. And I liked that kind of humor. So to get to be him every night.
Right. What are the challenges with that? A one-man, you know, you're on the stage all the time. And then someone who's actually living and existed. That's always a challenge.
Well, you really, as an actor, this is like no other role I've ever had. I really get inside of his skin. I really feel like I'm inside George Burns and just doing the lines of the show, and whatever I do is going to be right because I can't possibly do anything wrong because I'm inside of his body. And it's an amazing feeling.
It's a bit of irony. You've acted a long time. You've played John Adams. You've played Spiro Agnew. When you came to New York, you were in a play of the same name, had nothing to do with Burns.
When I first came to New York, my first off-Broadway show was a wonderful play by a guy named Ralph Pape called Say Goodnight Gracie, which was about growing up in the 50s, so that's where he got the title. But they weren't characters in the play.
And then when you signed in here at 30 Rock, downstairs, you saw a picture near security.
Right behind the lady who was signing me in and giving me my badge. I look up, there's a picture of Burns and Allen with an NBC radio microphone in front of them.
Alan, what do you think it was about their appeal? And could it fly today? I mean, things seem so kind of...
Well, you know, I'll tell you, there was something about that kind of humor, which George Burns called illogical logic, that seems to be timeless because we have older people who remember them from radio, maybe. We have young people who don't even know who he is. My stage manager loves to tell me a story about, I go out in the lobby after the show and I meet the people, and there was this one kid, maybe 16, 17 years old, just like really excited, jumping up and down and telling the jokes back to me. And after he left, my stage manager, Michael, came up to me and said, I saw that kid coming in the auditorium before the show started. He looked like he was being dragged to a funeral. He didn't want to be there. But he got introduced to George Burns for the first time.
By the end, just a minute left, you do the entire story arc of his career and even his resurgence towards the end, right?
He starts telling his life story because God is auditioning him to get up to the big times. He's just died, so he can see Gracie.
Can you give us 10 seconds of him, George?
Sure. Can I borrow your Sharpie?
Of course.
Because I can't do it without a cigar, you know?
Of course not.
So, Gracie, you know, Gracie she was the dizziest girl in the world. She said that she put salt in the pepper shaker and pepper in the salt shaker so that if she made a mistake, she'd be right.
And there you go. Can't say it any better than that. Alan Safier.
Say goodnight.
Say goodnight. Let's do it. Say goodnight, Gracie. That'll do it for us. Goodnight, Gracie.